Hello, guys. I'm Lisa,
And I'm Natasha.
and we were wondering.
Are you free for coffee?
Welcome, welcome.
Hello, guys. Happy Wednesday.
Okay, guys, we're going to tackle a serious topic. In recent weeks, I know you've heard the news. You know, we've been rocked with news of celebrity suicides.
Yes.
These were young, talented, beautiful people with seemingly everything to live for, and they took their lives.
Yeah.
So we just kind of wanted to unpack it a little bit and ask the question of how we can help people around us who are struggling. So Katie Couric, she has a like an Instagram show. She has newsletters, different things. But she interviewed America's Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, and he issued a public health advisory about it.
Yeah.
So he is concerned. And he says, I quote, young people today are looking at the specter of climate change, racism, violence in their communities, economic insecurity, and wondering, is the future really brighter? So they are struggling, our children and young adults. So, and this is before the pandemic. Yeah. You know, we're all struggling with COVID. Right. So we're at really at a crisis state. So the 10 years before COVID, there was a 50% increase in suicide rates.
And that was before COVID.
Before COVID. Yikes. And more than 40% spike in high school students who felt persistent feelings of hopelessness.
Yeah.
So the thing is, all around us, people are drowning.
Yes.
They are drowning. And I think what we fail to realize is that drowning is often very quiet. In real life, actual drowning
is quiet.
People can drown in a pool full of swimmers.
That's right.
Not be alone and drown.
Yes.
And it's quiet. So we feel like just because someone's not saying something,
yes,
they're not vocalizing,
they must be okay.
How they're okay.
Right.
And that is the myth.
Absolutely.
The other myth is that talking to people about suicide will lead them to suicidal ideations. And
yes,
that is false.
That's false. That's true.
That's false.
Yes. And I feel like that's one of the biggest obstacles. If you've ever worked with anyone in social service, we want you to say something. We do. We want just any inclination so that we can talk to you, so that you know you're not alone.
Yeah.
At the very least.
But that's what they're not doing.
But that's what and we're taught, we teach society not to. There's a lot of don't tell your business. Oh, there's people in Africa that have it worse. I mean, you know, all of these different things that we've heard people say over time, and you don't know if the recipient is really drowning. I mean, like, and not at the beginning phases. The beginning phases sometimes is flailing, and sometimes there's a little more noise, more noticeable effects. But when you're drowning, when you're at the end and you are drowning, it's silent. It's quiet. There's no one notices, no one hears. There's no one to feel the tug.
Well, the thing with teenagers too, if you're living in a household or you know, your life has a lot of teenagers in it, they're dramatic. So sometimes the flailing, you can't distinguish. Yeah. Like, okay, is she just being a drama queen today, slamming the door?
Right.
Or is there an issue?
Right.
And we have to recognize too, their experiences are so limited.
Yes.
That they can't gauge things.
And that's the danger. People, because when you hit a certain age, I hate to hear people say, oh, they're grown up. No, your 12-year-old's not a grown up. Your 13-year-old's not a grown up. Hell, your 19-year-old really ain't a grown up, if we're being honest. But I think as parents and peers or aunts or uncles or whoever's godparents, sometimes when they get out of the cutesy little phase and they get to the more rocky phase, we're so ready for them to get it. And just because they can hold a conversation with you doesn't mean that they get it. Their life experiences are still very limited. Mm-hmm. And when you have limited life experiences, that contributes to a feeling of hopelessness. Now, the reason I say that is because me at 36, I have X amount of experiences that I can pull. I can go through my Rolodex and say, half of y'all are too young to know what a Rolodex is, but I can go through my Rolodex and say, you know what? I remember how bad this was, but I remember how it turned out great. Mm-hmm. When you have limited experiences, then you start to think, is it even worth it? Is it ever going to get better? Is there anything? Because they haven't been to the other side enough times to know that it can get better. Yeah. They just haven't. And
so the worst thing you can do is discount their feelings.
Yes.
Now that in any situation, they are feeling what they're feeling.
Yes.
So that's what you don't do.
Yeah.
For sure.
And if you don't feel like you're a viable person to talk to, whatever the reason is, if you don't have the capacity, you don't have the bandwidth, help them find someone to talk to. Really and truly.
You be the other mother. That's what I like to call them, other mothers, because let's face it, Sasha and Malia they are not impressed with Barack and Michelle.
They show not, girl.
You're not impressed with your own parents. You're just not.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, what you do.
They can have all these things, and they're like,
they're just not impressed. But their friends might be impressed with you.
Right.
So sometimes you might not be able to be that person for your kid,
but
be it for somebody else. Yeah. Be it for somebody else's kid.
And hope that there's someone out there that's doing the same thing for your kid.
Yes. The thing is, they travel in packs. If you've got teenagers, there's some friends around.
Yeah.
You can have a conversation when you're carpooling, when you're whatever.
Yeah.
Just with all of them. Yeah. What do y'all think about this?
Even be the house that they can go to.
And they know you're the safe one.
Yes.
I had a friend who's had boys, and they had friends, not girlfriends, but just friends. And one of the friends talked to her about a teenage pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
So she was able to get them through that, go with them to talk to the parents and the whole thing. So be that for somebody else's kid, even if you can't, even if your kids won't open up to you.
Yeah.
Be that for somebody else's kid. And the other thing, sometimes your kids, they will open up to you, but at weird times. My kids it would not be like when you're trying to have the conversation, we're not down for it. But then it could be just at some weird time, you're going in the middle of the night to do something, or you're cleaning the kitchen, and then they won't talk.
Yeah.
Well, you've just got to do it.
I'll tell you, I had a really serious things. A classmate committed suicide. I was in high school. It just, it felt like everything, the walls were closing in, and my mom worked nights. So this one night, I remember instead of taking a shower, I took a bath, which was just like a weird thing for me at the time. So I take this bath, and the bath water is like cold. Like I've been in there this long, and I'm pruny, and I'm like, So I get out, I get my cell phone, I get back into this cold water, which makes no sense. I call my mom at work. And I'm just like, Mom, suicide really scares me. And she was like, okay. Because I called the work phone. She said, hey, baby, let me call you on my cell phone. I said, you're going to call me right back? She said, yeah. Hang up right then. It felt like no gap. Mom talked to me for like 2 hours. By the end of the conversation, I'm great. I'm great. I mean, I'm really good. But it was a horrible time for her. She works nights. She's a supervisor. And I'm like, hey, can I speak to my mom? This is Natasha. I need to talk to my mom, but she took that time.
Mm-hmm. And you have to do that.
And looking back at it, I was clearly in distress. I'm sitting in cold bath water. I mean, just really weird things, like looking back over it. But that really rocked me. I really was like, but why? Like, you tell me, what if we go to college or what if we do this? Like, why did this person take their life? Like, why didn't they talk to, and I wasn't friends with the person, but I knew of them. We played the same sport. And so I just thought like, well, they could have talked to one of us. Like, are we not good teammates? All these different thoughts. And that's, again, understanding that the pool that they're pulling from is limited. Of course, in your adult rational mind, you can kind of see this big scope, but Teenagers cannot.
No.
They really, and if you can see.
And when they're struggling, adults either.
Yes.
I think that's part of the disease.
It is.
Is that
that is anxiety, that is depression.
You're so tunnel vision.
You are.
That you can't understand. And like we were talking about, practice hope and rehearse hope.
Rehearse hope. Thank you, Markels.
You get to the point where you can't really do that. You lose the ability
especially
to do
when
that.
Tragedy seems to continually ensue.
Yeah.
You just look up and you're grasping for any sliver of hope. Mm-hmm. And when people are grasping for any sliver of hope, I hope that this helps someone understand, because a lot of people, we're viewing suicide from our seat, which is the people who are remaining. And so you're seeing it as selfish, as the easy way, as this. But when someone is grasping for hope, and it is in such limited supply that they feel like, I can't take this turmoil, I can't take this, then the finalization that is death feels like hope. People can't.
Well, they're just wanting the pain to stop.
They want the pain to stop. Mm-hmm. At any cost.
And whatever pain that is.
Right. And I feel like that's always been another thing too. I hate for people to say, well, but these people have it worse. We're talking about this person.
Well, pain is pain.
Yes, it is.
You know what I mean? Whether you're in a hut in Africa or you're living in a
mansion in the U.S.
Yeah, or Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Pain is pain.
Pain is pain. Yes.
And it doesn't matter the surroundings that you're in. The pain is
it's
the
still
pain.
There. Yeah, it's still there.
And it doesn't matter what caused the pain.
Yeah, you're right.
Where you are when you're having the pain.
Yeah.
It's just pain.
I forgot, was it Robin Williams who he was repeating the quote, but I think it became very popular from him, and it was, everyone around you is fighting a battle that you cannot see. So just be kind to people. And then that's a huge one when you think of this man who went to children's hospitals and made people laugh. And he worked, I forgot what project it was, but it's a big name
the Farm Aid thing. Remember when that?
Oh yeah, that was him too.
Yeah,
but he worked this movie and they were trying to call people in to do to sweep the set and stuff. And he was like, no, everyone that's homeless in an X amount of mile radius, I want you to hire them. And they were like, what? He was like, yeah, why would we fly people in? These are people right here that need jobs, that need whatever. And so this guy who owns this big tech company, he was homeless. He was one of those people. And he ended up getting a hotel, cleaned himself up, got a job, blah, blah, blah. And now he's this big tech person. And it's like, this is a man who ultimately his life ended with suicide. And he brought joy to so many people. And I just think, he said it. You don't know what battles people are fighting.
Yeah. But that's why I guess it's up to us to ask. I think that's what I was grappling with. Now, with your kids or young people that are in your life, I think you have to approach it like you do other hard topics like sex, like whatever, like the sex talk.
Yeah.
My go-to was always, I'm kind of hoping you don't right now because I don't feel like you're ready and you're probably not, but if you choose to, please be safe, do this, use protection, yada, yada, yada. It's kind of like you have to do that.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
I know you've had XYZ happen in the last week or whatever, that's going on in their life. Yeah. Let's talk. And you just have to find a way in. Now, I was looking, they did give us, I was on the suicide hotline, they gave us some tips on some of the warning signs. Now, these are not just for your kids, but for anybody, your loved ones, people you work with, changes of behavior.
Yeah.
So if they're usually a very outgoing person, all of a sudden they're quiet,
right?
And they're isolating, that can be a sign. Changes in sleeping habits or diet.
Yes.
Or they're just off in some way. You just notice, maybe you can't even put your finger on it. You can't articulate it, but something is going on with them. Ask.
Yeah.
Ask.
And you know what? As a person who has dealt with anxiety and dealt with depression, we wake up some days and we just hope someone's going to ask. a little bit of it, you don't know who to talk to sometimes. Because again, like you said, it's limited. Even as an adult, when there's a lot of pain, you used to be able to see to the end of the block. You may only be able to see to your front door, so to speak. So a lot of people, they're hoping someone asks.
But like you said, a kind word, sometimes just touching somebody's arm, looking them in the eye, baby, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Do you need somebody to talk to?
Sometimes and a lot of times they say, "Oh, there's nothing." It's okay to say, "Oh, well, you've been a vegetarian.
You can come
for
to
8
me
years, and I noticed you eat this burger, and that just kind of I noticed it. That's showing someone you care,
right?
That
that
and
you're a safe place.
They may say yes, they may say nothing to you, but they know this is a safe place.
Yes, and like Natasha said, everybody around you. I mean, it's all around. And that look, that touch can be the lifeline that someone needs.
Yeah.
Really. And you don't,
because we all get so busy. We're all so busy. And I think we have a tendency to assume, well, Lord, it's hard out here, but I'm making it. And you assume that for other people, it's hard, but they're making it. No, they might be drowning.
And then sometimes you think too, well, she's got a husband or a boyfriend and kids and a mom and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. And
they may not notice it either.
They can be surrounded by people and be alone.
Yes.
And still isolating themselves.
Yes.
Still feel very hopeless.
Yes.
So don't make the assumption and pick and choose who you think. Anybody.
Right.
This can happen to anybody.
I agree.
It crosses all racial lines, all socioeconomic lines. It can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
So just reach out. If you care about people, reach out, call people. How are you? What's going on with you? Let's talk and just be there. We have to train ourselves to be better friends.
Yes.
Better siblings,
better listeners,
parents, better, friends, a spouse, whatever, whoever, and just, open up to people.
Yeah.
You open up to people too.
It can make a world of difference. It really can.
Yeah. So there is, Congress has passed a new suicide number, kind of an abbreviated number, kind of like 911, when they start 911 for emergencies. This is a 988. So if you or someone is struggling with suicidal thoughts, or someone who is, and you just need some help reaching them, or what can I do? You can call 911 and that will put you in contact with the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Now, some states and cities, they're having some issues with it. So you have to check in your area if it's been implemented yet. But it has rolled out in some areas. And like I said, it's been approved by Congress. It was approved back in 2020. So there are some places that have it. So check with where you are. You can call 1-800-273-TALK, which is 8255. 1-800-273-TALK, which is 8255. And that is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Yeah. So if you even if it's not you personally, but someone, you can call and get some information, get some help on how to talk to them. Yeah. So keep that number.
Yeah.
And just reach out. Check on folks.
In this day and age, I mean, like, seriously, save the number in your phone. It's not going to hurt anything. We literally are walking around with little computers. I remember when people had pagers, honey. So by comparison, we have little computers in our pockets. It's not going to hurt anything.
Just keep it.
So that way, if you're in a situation, then you have it.
And I hope you never have to use it.
I do too.
If you do.
But if you are, realize that could be the difference between life or death for someone. It really can be. And it's such a simple thing to call. You can even call them and ask, I don't know what to say, but I'm just noticing that. And they may be able to give you pointers. Mm-hmm. They may be able to help you. Sometimes you can tell HR. It just depends where you work. But sometimes HR, they have resources. And they say, okay, we'll do some wellness checks, or we'll check in. And remember, everyone's battle is different. It's not your job to say, oh, well, that doesn't seem that bad, or I went through that. That's not the point. Right. Everybody battle, has
a breaking point.
They do. And your breaking point is different than mine. That's it.
Yes.
Yes. Everyone's breaking point is different. Plus we don't ever really know, do we? We don't, even when people tell you, oh, I'm battling this, this, and this, that's just the part they chose to share.
Right.
That's it. That's just the part they decided to share. And I know I often think of it as like when you pour a soda. I don't drink soda often. I'm really bad at pouring them, so they always foam over. What people share is that fizzle on top. They don't share that cup full of Dr. Pepper. Just the pour over. If that's all they're sharing with you, imagine everything
else. It's like an iceberg.
Yes.
All that's underneath. You just see
and what's underneath is so much bigger than that little bitty bit that you see on top. And if the top can cause that much damage, imagine all of the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So reach out to whoever you need to.
Yes.
And this is a time when silence is not golden.
No, it is not.
So voice your concerns, talk to people, confronting people.
Yeah.
It's okay to confront. I'm worried about you.
What's the worst you're going to do? Annoy them?
Yeah.
I mean, really.
And just, if you're that lifeline, or if it just gets him thinking somebody cares about me.
That's it.
That can be all the difference.
That's it.
And you know what? Sometimes it's like, you know what? You come to my house and spend the night, or I'll come to your house and spend the night.
Yeah, girl, I'm not gonna leave you alone. I have shown up. I don't like root beer, y'all. I just think root beer floats are yuck. I like Dr. Pepper floats. That's me. Extra Dr. Pepper, a little light on the vanilla, whatever. And I remember showing up to someone's house. They love Barks root beer diet. Ugh, I don't know why, but I remember getting it and putting it in the cooler at Kroger while I finished shopping for the other stuff, because I was trying to get it cold a little bit. I go back to the freezer, I pull it out, and I went over because I was like, something's wrong. And it turns out her boyfriend had started beating her. And she broke up with him. It was one of those things where it's like, I know it's not right, but it takes an immense amount of strength to leave domestic violence. And we were young. I mean, this is college, like 19, 20. I don't even think we were 21, so I probably would have bought beer. So we were young. And I just remember we didn't even do anything. We sat there.
Just being there.
We had floats.
Just being there.
She had no idea that I didn't watch Real People TV. So she's like watching stuff. And I'm like, okay. I just remember her question, what do you usually watch? And I was like the Disney Channel or Cartoon Network. She's like, wait, really? I was like, yeah, I don't like human TV. And I remember it was silent for probably another 30 minutes. What's your favorite show? King of the Hill. She's like, really? And she happened to be white. And she was just like, I just did not think that Black people like King of the Hill. I said, oh no, there's a ton of us that love it. And we watched King of the Hill.
That's so funny.
That was it.
But that was it. And you see what it takes. I only
knew where she lived because she took me home one day. She took me home and she was like, oh, I live over here. So even when I went, I had to be like, well, she lives in one of these units. I just happened to see her car. She either lived upstairs or downstairs. I'm fat, so I tried downstairs first. And she opened the door and she's like, oh, hey. But you could tell she had been crying. I mean, and I think that's a little bit of my nature.
Just being there for somebody.
Yeah.
That's what it takes.
It's a bit of my nature, but I do implore you, do it. Yes. Really. It doesn't take as much as you think. It doesn't take as much time. Just sometimes people just want to know someone gives a damn. Yeah. That's it. And that really doesn't take as much as one may think.
And that's the voice in your head telling you.
Yes. When you get that feeling, I better call. Yeah. Or
you're the only one. Yeah. Nobody else is feeling like this. Nobody's ever felt this way.
Yes.
You are overreacting to you.
Yes.
So that's what they're dealing with.
Yes.
So just
and that
for you
voice
to go,
doesn't cut off.
And even telling them, something like that happened to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just need that,
I remember someone told me, girl, I've been thinking about you. And I hit mute and I started crying. Because when it was something about, girl, I've been thinking about you. Because I'm telling myself, well, no one gives a shit anyway. Yeah. But this person's like, girl, I've been, no, for real, girl, for 2 weeks, I was going to call you and then this happened. But you're hearing them tell you I have been thinking about you.
I care.
And so, of course, I unmute, I clean it up, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's so sweet. Da, 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 da. What have you been up to? And I'm like, well, nothing. And by the end of the conversation, But this is, again, guys, this is years of therapy for me. Everyone doesn't have that. By the end of the conversation, I was like, I have been so depressed. I'm really glad you called me. I haven't brushed my teeth in like a week. I haven't washed my hair. The curtains have been drawn. And I remember she was like, oh, we're still friends this day, so I'm not going to put her out there. But she was like, well, open your curtains. And if you stand outside, I'll stand outside and we'll pretend like, we're close to each other. And she was like, we'll pretend like there's those white people in the movies looking up at the moon. And we're just kind of laughing. I was great. But it was like, it took that to like snap
that connection
me out of it. And after that, it was like, we're going to brunch. You're going. Oh, I don't have any money. Well, you're going to eat off my plate. I mean, sometimes you just have to. Like, you just
reach out. Just be that person.
Yeah. And I know life is busy. I do. But think of it like this. It's going to take me 2 minutes. I could reach out to 2 minutes tops. That's it. You can call someone, leave a voicemail, and you can send a follow-up text. Hey, man, I've just been thinking about you. Give me a call when you get a chance. That's still showing someone that you care. And that's 2 minutes. Like, you can literally, there's so many things, that take way longer than 2 minutes. That's for sure. Or are we going to talk about our feature, which is...
let's do that. Let's do our Sexiest Man Alive, because we'll do it.
We can do the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, Sexiest Man Alive. Gosh, I wasn't ready.
I've got one.
Do you?
I do.
Who are you picking?
I am picking Daniel Day-Lewis. Okay.
You come up with some good ones.
Y'all, the reason I'm picking him... Okay, now I can't even remember the name of the thing. I recently...
Sir Daniel.
Yes. He's a wonderful actor, number one.
Yeah.
And he's always been handsome, but just really, I
well.
didn't really think of him in that way, But the other night I watched this movie with him. It's on Netflix, y'all. The Phantom Thread, I think. Check it, Natasha, for me. But he played a dress designer kind of guy. And I don't know, something about him just really did it for me.
Okay.
He was, it was a love story, not a rom-com, very serious, kind of weird, but he was so elegant.
Phantom Thread.
Is that it? Y'all, okay. That he floated my boat. Okay. He was so elegant and handsome.
He is put together. I'm looking at pictures.
It was, wow. Just something about him was so attractive to me. It just did it.
He's handsome.
I mean, he's always been, but I just never thought of him like that. But I thought of him like that. Watching that, so watch that, y'all.
I'm gonna watch this.
It's kind of, you got to be in the mood for it. Of course, the fashion's beautiful, so I watched that. It's different,
and he has a lot of kids, girl.
But his acting in it was wonderful. So even though the plot wasn't quite my cup of tea,
okay,
I could appreciate his craft. And he was just really wonderful in that. So that's my guy this week.
So my guy, and this is going to be on par with mental health, because I think he kind of made reaching out for help cool, or like, yeah, kind of cool, is Jim Carrey. And I do legit love Jim Carrey, like for real, in real life. Like, I grew up watching.
You love comedians.
I do. I love tall, skinny men that are funny. That's my thing. So I love Jim Carrey, and he's on par with this. And this is a fun, like kind of fun fact thing about me, I guess. I love the number 23. It's a movie. Oh. It's a movie that has Jim Carrey. And it is so not what you would think. And you might have seen The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which also has Jim Carrey.
Yes.
That was a very different role for him. Okay, this is 180 different even from that. And it's called The Number 23.
Is it a drama?
It is. It's a suspense thriller drama.
Okay, don't give anything away, but is he the bad guy?
He's not.
Okay.
He's not.
I can't take it if he's the bad guy.
He's not the bad guy, but I'm going to tell you, it is Jim Carrey in the light you have never, ever seen. And not just the seriousness, just his devotion to this role. You're so used to him being the funny guy. And he's funny. but he's really smart. He's really profound. If you ever kind of listen to him.
Is it a recent movie?
No, it's old. It's an old movie.
Okay, so it's called The Number 23?
It's called The Number 23. I will find out who's streaming it. But anyway, I remember.
That's cool.
I showed my husband 2007.
Okay.
Let me see who's streaming it. Let's see. You can watch it on Amazon Prime for $2.99, $3.99 on Vudu. It looks like if you have HBO Max, it looks like you can watch there. Lisa has it there.
Okay.
So yeah, but it's pretty cheap to rent. But honestly, it's
okay. I'm gonna watch that.
It's on par with our conversation today in the sense of there's like some underlying mental health things happening around him. And it's almost driving him to question himself. It's really good. Like, it's so good. I love Jim Carrey. He is my sexiest man alive. He's also, I feel like he's aged very well.
Me too.
I feel like he's right. He's
there's nothing better than a guy that can make you laugh. Now, come on.
I'm telling you.
Humor is so important.
So Jim Carrey made it to I'm shocked it took this long, but that's my sexiest man alive.
And don't forget the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 1-800-273-8255.
Yes. Or you can also hit pound 988, and it looks like as of July, if it does nothing else, it'll take you right to the hotline. That's what I was reading online. Some places have a more sophisticated setup.
Check your
local, check your area for sure. Mm-hmm. But save the number. It could save your life. It could save someone else's life. Seriously, that's a really, really big one. Well, guys, that's it. We had something else to share, so we'll share it. So you just have to join us next week for the other thing. Make sure you're following us on Instagram. We're actually about to post our winner. Guys, we live in Texas, and we don't do any type of snow, like even ice. We had ice, and where I live, lost power. And guys, if you live in the north, you're just laughing at us because it's like an inch of ice. Our power grid's like, we can't take this.
Can't do anything.
We can deal with 180-degree weather. We cannot deal with anything near the teens. So we were a little late, but we're going to announce it this week, and then we'll get that shipped out.
And happy Valentine's Day.
And we have goodies for you for Valentine's Day as well. Until next time, guys.
Bye-bye.